That actually goes back to a question that somebody had in the audience, and they said, "Are we going to see something similar to an April crash anytime soon?"
We're seeing a mini one right now.
Well, no, but not like it was in April.
No, they may rhyme, but they won't be the exact same. You're going to have to wait to next year for it. But depending on what you're looking at, and even with Oracle, I will say this: with Oracle, Broadcom, SMCI, those are the canary in the coal mine that are telling you what's to come. There are some quality companies that are pulling back, which makes me afraid. Because if you look at the 2022 drop, the COVID drop, it wasn't the quality companies that fell first. It was the ones that were a little bit weaker or B or C class. Keep your eyes on those for how quickly they fall. But as far as like the same April drop, we're not there yet. We'll probably get it next year. We're definitely not going to get it this month, though.
Well, I'll also say, I mean, the one variable is that Trump is liable to do anything at any given moment. And that's a wild card. Probably, like you said, highly unlikely. But Trump is definitely somebody that, because that's why that happened, because of the whole tariff thing and him. It was a kind of an impulsive decision without fully thinking it through. So he's definitely somebody that's an impulsive person and willing to just do things on the fly that could potentially hurt it. But another thing is that like, they always said, like, it's happy hour somewhere. It's always happy hour somewhere.
Hello.
There's always a crash somewhere.
You have to go hunt and look for it.
Right. So it's like, even we just talked about Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's down 30% from its high. So, not necessarily a crash in the term of cryptocurrency is concerned, but it's when you look at a 30% drawdown, right? That's something
that's a nice correction.
Yeah. So it might be a company, it might be a sector, it might be a set industry, commodity, but there's always pullbacks and mini crashes and big crashes that happen even when you don't really think about it, because it's like the whole entire market might not crash.
Yeah.
But one particular thing that is still a good investment over the course of time could potentially crash.
Can I add something to this?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna get this one away. This is pretty interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, when we see Nvidia pullback, it's down at 176, or we saw Broadcom pull back. When you listen to the Broadcom report last week when they reported earnings, it was interesting. We watched it shoot up to 420, and then around 6 o'clock, it was like, wait, how did this thing drop to under 389? And then what happened was the CEO spoke, and Hock Tan is the CEO of Broadcom, and he said something very interesting that investors kind of took away. It reminded me of when we listened to Zuckerberg speak, and he was talking about, I'm going to spend, and we're going to do this. I'd rather overspend than underspend. And people were like, wait, he's being frivolous, and the stock fell. He said we're going to be passing through more components that are not ours, right? So those costs will be passing through more costs of the rack. So when he's talking about racks, he's talking about the actual racks that go inside of data centers, which is a whole thing. Inside of a rack, you got compute, you got memory, you got networking, and you got power and cooling. When he said that, my brain started thinking, I'm like, wait, he's saying that they're not going to be doing all these things, right? They're going to actually pass off this work. And when they pass off that work, that means the margins that they once thought they were going to have are now smaller.
Are gone. Yep.
Right. So if we thought that they were going to have high margins because, wait, they're completing all the TPUs for Google. Well, they're telling Google, hey, we are not going to do all these components. We're going to actually hire somebody outside to do part of it, but we'll still give you the rack. Then you find out that they might not be doing all of Google's TPUs. And so now you're starting to see the stock fall down here. But inside that, if they're going to tell us straight up that they're going to be using other people to build the components, well, then I got to find out who are the people that they're using for their components. And the most important component that they're going to need is, like I said in the diagram a few weeks ago, is the brain of that operation. So if now Broadcom is the heart of it, well, the memory has to be the brain of it. And when you just said that part of, hey, there's going to be a correction somewhere, but somebody's going to benefit somewhere else. If you look at that memory sector, if you look at Western Digital, if you look at Seagate, If you look at Micron, they are all up 200% individually, right? Some are, I think Seagate probably higher. They've all gone over 200% this year. That tells you the level of importance of the memory sector. So we can talk GPUs, but we have to talk about the brain operation. That memory piece is the reason why we keep talking about Micron. I know they're going to be reporting this Wednesday. That sector inside of technology has had an amazing year. In 2026, SK Hynix, which is the leader globally, right? That's the South Korean company. Samsung is the other leader, South Korean company. And they're saying that, hey, there's a bottleneck here, and it starts with us, right? If we don't have enough compute to put inside these chips, the memory to put inside, there's going to be another supply chain demand that I don't know if anybody's really ready to deal with. And so I'm watching that memory sector very intently, because what happens when there's a supply demand issue? Number one, they can say, hey, we're going to up the prices on these, and the hyperscalers have no. It's either you have it or you don't have your GPU. It has to come with it. And so that sector now looks like it's primed to have it had a great year this year, but I think that run continues into 2026.
Also, really quickly, you only need 4. If you're new, you only need 4 stocks to get rich off of, and you're good. Second, if you're looking for a crash, like Rashad said, look across everything. The Japanese yen carry trade is over. Therefore, the Japanese yen is not doing well. The bond market has been in free fall for 5 years since we started the show. Easy one to trade to the downside, especially if you're in the futures market. SMCI has been in free fall. And IONQ is starting to have some pressure, definitely off of that high. So there's always a crash somewhere, but please remember you only need 4, and you don't need to always find something that is in crash territory to then buy. You may be better off buying an asset that is going to continue to go up, that is crash proof. So
Yeah, for sure.
do what you want, but the exposure to too many stocks is going to lead you to a rabbit hole of nothingness.
You think Supermicro's dead?
I never thought Supermicro was, and I love the guys over there, so no slight to y'all. Shout out to executive management. They never were a tier.
No,
I don't want to talk about the stepped-on companies. None.
Yeah.
No. They had a great moment, but that moment came off. Like, remember when Hove made the blueprint and everybody was like doing the soul samples and trying to, and it sounded like him until Blueprint 2 came out. That's NVIDIA. It's a lot of companies who benefited from the rise of AI, and everyone's doing all this exorbitant spending, and now we're about to hit a global bottleneck, and those numbers don't look the same. Be careful. Be careful.
I'm with you. I'm with you. They're not A tier, and I don't want people. I want people to take that away from it, in a sense that all semiconductors and all semiconductor companies
are not created equal.
They're not created equal, and all of them have different responsibilities. That's why I think it's so important to educate yourself on what they actually do. So obviously, when we're talking about compute and GPUs, NVIDIA does that. Supermicro does something very different, right? They help in the infrastructure of the rack for NVIDIA. And they partner with some of its competitors as well. So they do partner with Cisco, they partner with Dell, but they're part of the NVIDIA ecosystem. And so if we see,
but
NVIDIA,
just because they're in the ecosystem, not to cut you, doesn't mean.
I want people to understand, because they might think like, hey, Supermicro, oh, that's like AMD. No, it's not. Oh, that's like Broadcom. No, it's not. It's not. Right. It's not. It's just, it's not what they do. Right. They're part of the ecosystem. And so when we see NVIDIA pull back, right, it's almost like when we saw Bitcoin pull back, the rest of the cryptocurrency space takes a hit, and it doesn't fall at the same relative speed, right? They had some issues internally, right? They almost got delisted this year. Thankfully, they didn't. But they're part of that ecosystem. And so if we believe in NVIDIA and these are their partners, the same way when we thought about CoreWeave and we thought about these other companies and we've seen the benefits, right? Dell was one of those companies that we talked about inside their racks. They'll be there until they're not a partner anymore. If they're not a partner, then that's not a conversation. But the fact that they're part of the ecosystem, the fact that they strategically partnered with them tells me that they're not dead, but they are struggling.
No, I'm not going to say they're dead, but they are struggling. And just because a kingmaker chooses to do business with you, that doesn't make you a king.
No. And then I don't think they're supposed to be.
Oh,
But people were treating it as if it was.
because of that run up, right? We
Yep.
saw the wait, this company was at $400. It's at $1,000.
Mhm.
Oh, I better buy. Yeah, but do you even know what they do?
Yeah.